traffic in a post-AI world with today's special guest, Andrew Laws.
Welcome to the Artificial Intelligence Podcast, where we make AI simple, practical, and accessible for small business owners and leaders. Forget the complicated tech talk or expensive consultants. This is where you'll learn how to implement AI strategies that are easy to understand and can make a big impact for your business. The Artificial Intelligence Podcast is brought to you by Fraction AIO, the trusted partner for AI digital transformation. At Fraction AIO, we help small and medium-sized businesses boost revenue by eliminating time-wasting, non-revenue generating tasks that frustrate your team. With our custom AI bots, tools, and automations, we make it easy to shift your team's focus to the tasks that matter most, driving growth and results. We guide you through a smooth, seamless transition to AI, ensuring you avoid costly mistakes and invest in the tools that truly deliver value. Don't get left behind. Let Fraction AIO help you stay ahead in today's AI-driven world. Learn more and get started at fractionaio.com.
Andrew, this is a really exciting topic for me because we're hearing a lot of really new terms like zero click, and SEO is really plummeted a lot in the last few years, traffic. And we're seeing, especially publishers are really suffering, whose entire business is search and content. And that's really the people that are suffering the absolute most. I know that for other types of businesses, they're trying to find ways to generate, and then the cost for advertising is going down. It's really a tough time in this world, and we're trying to figure out what the future is going to be. And it's, if I do a search on Google, I'm lucky if 3 out of the 20 things on the page are not paying to be there. Like, you're never seeing the answer to your question. What AI has done, in my opinion, is taken us back to 30 years ago when you search and you'd actually see what you were looking for. So you'd find the answer, but we're definitely seeing a lot of smaller businesses go under and suffer already. So really, is what's happening with search? Like, you think it's going to continue to exist? Are people still going to search and find websites, or is that kind of over forever?
It's not over forever, but it's evolving much faster than I think anybody, including people in the industry, could have foretold. Google's been trying to keep people off your website for many years, and the attitude to a lot of people in SEO is, okay, we might not be able to get as many people to your website now, but we'll still get people to your brand in some way they can take action. So it all started with what we'd call the SERP features, the little piece that people also asked, and then they start showing images, and then there'd be the knowledge graph, the bit at the side. And increasingly, Google was trying to keep people on their page so that they can sell advertising. And it is tough for businesses, especially small businesses, but there's also quite a lot of opportunity here. So when I first started doing this about 30 years ago, I really got into SEO because it was a David versus Goliath thing. You could be a tiny little company and you could beat the big guys. And Google came along and followed up with that for a little bit, but then it became, if you spend a bit of money on advertising, that will help get people. And the balance gradually tipped. And I think we're now back in a place where if you're a really big company and you can afford to have a whole suite of writers and a massive website that's worked on constantly by a team of people, you're going to do better than the small guys. Whereas with AI search, or the AI method, I don't even want to call it search, the AI method of finding information, it does offer some opportunities for the real small guys again, because if you create better information, AI searchers are more likely to use that than they are just the sheer volume. This is why some of the bigger companies with very large websites that haven't strategically planned out their content are starting to suffer.
One of the things that I wonder about is almost like if Google's killing their own business, if I can't find anything for what I search, if it's just going to give me an answer like any other AI, everyone's just going to switch to ChatGPT. Like, most people, when you say AI, they just think ChatGPT. Just like when you say search, they think Google. Yeah. So it's very interesting to me. It seems, I don't know that it's a long-term business model where you no longer are a search engine. Like, it doesn't do that anymore. It really just gives you a short answer surrounded by ads. It's like, at least with ChatGPT, I'm not surrounded by ads if I'm going to choose between the two things.
There's quite a lot of neutrality in chat AI results, because they're not going to be influenced by the same things that search results are. They look for the same things when they're trying to decide how important or reliable an answer is. But I think I'd probably trust almost any LLM, Claude, and GPT, any of them, I think I'd probably trust them more than Google at the moment, because I think Google have been caught napping with this. It's odd how they're suddenly scrabbling to get a seat at the table. They should have been there first, shouldn't they? The biggest tech company in the world.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that interests me is that for a long time, the quality of content has gone down and down because you're writing a little bit for the readers and a lot for the spiders, a lot for the AI search engines. So you're trying to have, I have to have the right ratio of keywords, the right ratio of tags and meta tags. And there's always these new algorithms to your article has to be 750 words, 1,000 words, 1,500 words, 3,000 words. And there's all these little tricks to ranking, right? And it's like a game. If you could reverse engineer the recipe, you would rise to the top. But the quality of the content was always diminishing. Whereas now, if I'm not targeting that and I could just write a great article and it's about the content, not about the ratio of keywords and how many words are bolded and italicized and all of that stuff, it seems like it's an opportunity for good content to start to get noticed again, for content quality to be the most important thing, which is what it originally was. Like the whole point of a search engine is find me the best version of what I'm looking for. And one thing that I found really interesting is that there's a new tool from Cloudflare. You can click a button that says, "Don't let AIs see my website," which seems like a terrible idea. Like, it seems like, do not give me traffic.
It's set by default as well. Anyone listening to this with a website, speak to your host, or if you know what Cloudflare is, just go have a look.
And you're worried about them stealing your knowledge. It's like the barn door's already open. The horses are gone. Like it's too late. And now the advantage is exactly the way I see it is, imagine all my competitors block AIs. I'm the only one there. Then I appear in all the AI search engines by default. It's actually an advantage.
There's always, I'm not toxically positive with these things. I've just been in this business for a long time. And generally, if everyone starts panicking about losing their knowledge or losing their intellectual property, or certain things shouldn't be lost, like intellectual property, generally it's a signal to me to just relax a little bit and think about what it is you actually do and what your assets really are. So, of course, no one wants their work stolen. They absolutely don't. I've got friends who are academics and they're livid. But ultimately, your content isn't why people bought from you, especially if you're writing it with one eye on SEO, which I've never recommended. So is the content what's bringing people in, or is it the other things around your content, like your reputation, how nicely you speak to people? So yeah, you might have to, I'm trying to think the best way of summarizing it. We've been living in the age of knowledge. So you can sell knowledge. Knowledge has been the thing that we all, especially consultants, we've all filled our heads with knowledge and then sold it piecemeal, little bits, and resold the knowledge. And you only got to look at all the courses on Kajabi and whatever, which there's some really good stuff there. But I think that age is drawing to a close. And I'm not quite sure what the next age is yet, but I think I'd like it to be the age of authenticity. So if for the last 30 years, all these people trying to trick Google and trying to write content just to rank, they've ended up being inauthentic. They've ended up not being a true representation of their voice. So we're sat here, you and I at the moment, and anyone who's not watching on video, I apologize, but we've both got guitars behind us. I've got a little Totoro, which might just be out of shot. And what was the first thing we talked about before we started recording? It was guitars, wasn't it?
Yeah, guitars and our kids. It's like, the thing that I find interesting is a lot of people think the best use of AI is inauthenticity. They go, great, I want my AI to handle my social media. I want to use AI to handle all my sales calls. And I want to put AI as a barrier between me and my customers. I'm like, that's a terrible idea.
It's really awful, isn't it?
It's like, literally, let's put AI in blocking the most important parts of my business. And I understand the core idea, which is I want to increase efficiencies, but we are seeing this like push towards authenticity. Everybody wants me to use AI to do sales phone calls. And the study recently came out that 76% of people hang up on phone calls, but the 24% who don't realize it's an AI stay on the call. It's like the 24% you tricked. That's not, and I think that's the problem.
That's not how you start a relationship. How many dates did you go out? I went and spoke to 20 people in a bar. 4 of them didn't realize I'm an idiot and agreed to a date. What are you doing?
Exactly. Now, it is a strategy. It's just a bad one. And I think that we're entering an area of fragmentation where we're seeing a lot of this with tools like Patreon and a lot of markets where now you can support the individual creator. You can subscribe to someone's YouTube channel and you can do super chats. There's these things that allow you to directly communicate, and that only works up to a certain size. Once you get past a certain size, there's no longer the value. If I message someone who has 1,000 subscribers, they're going to respond. So it has 10,000, 50,000, they're probably not, right? And there's this point where you, instead of getting talk to the person, you get to talk to the number 2 or a certified coach or someone on their team, and it like diminishes the value of the level of access. And so I do see a lot of value like in supporting a smaller creator, and then your name appears in their video, or they make a character look like you in their comic book. There's a lot of really cool opportunities, I think, for smaller or like an individual business, like a bit like a self-supporting business. I see that as like one of the really cool things. I think fragmentation is always a good thing, that the opportunity then come for lots of creators. Because unfortunately what happens is you have fragmentation, then a few people become superstars and they steal all the traffic, and then that's it for everyone else. So I hope that's what's going to happen now. But I can certainly understand. I think the big question on a lot of people's minds is, if I can't get found via search engines, how do I get found? Like, how do I get my customers to learn that I exist, especially outside of paid advertising? What's the organic method that's replacing SEO? What's a new way for people to discover me naturally?
The same way people have discovered businesses since millennia ago, doing really good things, building a strong network, really old-fashioned business things. And yes, you can't scale as fast necessarily unless you hit that sweet spot where you've got something everybody wants. But looking at the bigger picture, I have to ask myself, what was the drive between this what was behind this hustle culture of start a company, scale, fast, everything's hormosy, everything. We have someone called Stephen Bartlett over here. Everything's just like hustle, push, never sleep, work 80 hours a week. And I'm too old for that now. And you think, what is the reasoning behind that? What was driving that? Who was that ultimately serving? So if some of the methods for that to happen are now going away, then maybe the world might become a better place. Maybe we don't need $50 billion companies and only one choice of communication product like an iPhone or whatever. Because I'm old enough to remember what certain parts of the world were like before that. I'm a Gen X, white-haired, middle-aged man. I remember here in the UK, I remember only having 3 TV channels. And we used to go to school the day after and everyone would watch the same thing on TV, and it was nice. And I'm not being a Philistine. I'm not saying let's go back to the Stone Age where everything was simpler and the golden days. No, today's world is much, much better than it has ever been. But I think some of these stories of just get big, some of that drive, I think, is it running its course? Have we had enough of that now?
I think for me, one of the best examples is what's happened in the world of comedy. So it used to be, as a comedian in America, you'd try and get on a late night TV show, and then you get on a network show. You did a good job. You get one chance. You tell your jokes. If you do good enough, they go, we need to put you in a sitcom. And you get your TV deal. That's really was the method of success in the 70s, early 80s. And then after that, it was get on do a special on Comedy Central, then you get put in a movie, right? Now, you can have a podcast, grow it, and then you have subscribers to your Patreon, subscribers to you, and then you do live shows, and you can have this new method to success that no longer requires to be on a television show. And I really see this as an adaptation to the market more than anything else. It's going, I can build a small audience. I don't need millions of people to watch. We have 10,000 people pay $10 a month. That's an amazing life. That's amazing.
Yeah, I'll take that.
I'm killing. And it's like, that's compared to, who watches television shows. It's so fragmented. You don't have control. You have to have like an agent takes a piece, or lawyer takes a piece, or manager takes a piece. And it's like swallow, and you can get canceled. Your show can just get, for a million reasons, shows don't get renewed. Whereas if you have total control of your pipeline, from discovery to profit, then you have a lot more freedom to do whatever you want. There's not a risk. And that's the thing. I end up being an entrepreneur, is no one can fire me. That's the freedom. So I do see that. We have to see that type of adaptation to other markets where you go, I need to take control of the entire pipeline, even if I have less customers. of them discovering me all the way through me servicing them. And especially if you're in any form of entertainment or any form of content delivery, like we're seeing a big shake up in America in a lot of the publishing industries, like the comic book industry. The main distributor just declared bankruptcy. So tons of comic book publishers are going to go out of business. Like basically every comic book in America is sold by one company. They're called the physical ones, and that company just declared bankruptcy a few months ago. And that is, so all these people they owed money to are, wait, what? We sent you, they're going to, and so it's leading to that thing, which is you have to find a way to adapt to this new world and see the ways people shop. And I go through the same thing. I remember I was like, I would never buy something from my phone. That's insane. When everyone else was doing, I was like, no way. And it's before that, I was like, I wouldn't use a computer. I would never. And we eventually get pulled along, kicking and screaming into the way people purchase and understanding the behaviors of our customers. And so I think that we've gotten so used to organic search, and this is a method of traffic generation, that we just have to accept that era is shifting. And now it is the era of, again, there's an opportunity where quality rises to the top. And there's still opportunities in social media. And I think we're seeing social media networks are going to fracture in the same way. We're seeing some of that.
They already are. I can't keep track of, I know a lot of people jump ship from Twitter to Blue Sky, but beyond that, I'm now seeing platforms as a professional in the field and going, I have never heard of the platform, and it's got a lot of users.
Yeah, there's so many social media networks that are huge. Like I have a Mastodon account. Not sure.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
I was like, I thought that was Blue Sky. Like it's got a ton of users, and we're seeing Twitter clones and Facebook clones. And listen, I remember Friendster. I remember MySpace. Like it used to be, there was only MySpace. And then they dropped the ball. They dropped their leadership. They made a mistake and they lost everyone. Too many ads. I remember when my profile was more ads than content. I go, I'm done. Yeah. You can't be more than 50. You can't be 60% ads on my own profile page. And people who spend time cultivating and choosing your top 8 friends. So I think that we're going to see, and this is the key. I think it's not about the technology, it's about the adaptability. Whenever I see a big market shift, my first thought is if everyone is freaking out or jumping ship, that's an opportunity.
Absolutely.
Because they're going to lose their customers or they're going to lose market share. And I've really moved. I've done a huge growth on Pinterest. I really focused on that for 2 years. It's been a massive growth for me. And I never looked at it before I started using it. And it's just been massive growth. Huge amount of my audience comes from there. And then really growing on LinkedIn, which is how a lot of people find me, where more people watch the show on LinkedIn than on YouTube. So you don't know where it's going to be, but it starts with this idea of where's my audience? What do they like? What makes them happy? And it seems like a crazy formula, but because we were so used to, I thought the rules were, this is for SEO. And as I move into new markets and I expand, I have to find and adapt to new methodologies. And that is a challenge. It is a scary thing, especially if you've been doing something for a long time. And we're seeing that if you're selling, like you said, we may be in a post-information world because a lot of websites have just sold information, like how to solve a puzzle in a video game, or there used to be a lot of websites that didn't realize just giving you the lyrics to songs or the tabs. Now you get those tabs from ChatGPT. And that's something, okay, what can we do? Another industry I'm very interested in is the music industry. When Napster came out, they stopped making money from CDs. So what did they do? They shifted, and now it's back to live concerts and events. Like people are more event driven than ever. I think that there's a lot more things. There is a future, but we just have to find it. And sometimes it's in the past. The way you made money 150 years ago, go to town to play music. Now it's the same thing. Live music is back again. So the question is, for smaller businesses or medium-sized businesses that have relied on these types of traffic sources, how can they start to just approach it big picture without even looking at specific technology? What's the mindset that allows some companies to adapt and some companies don't make it?
The mindset is the growth mindset. There's a brilliant book written by someone called Caroline Dweck, and she argues that every decision every person makes, it's not a business book. Every decision every person makes, they're either fatalists, they're always, this is what's going to happen, it's going to be bad, or they go, okay, this is an opportunity to grow. Even when really bad things happen. We lost a client last year and it was catastrophic. But I decided that this had to be the best opportunity we've ever had. And in the year since then, we've completely improved all our internal systems, all our communication, because I won't let that happen again. if I didn't have a growth mindset, I would have gone, that's the end of that. We're done. Here in the UK, this is the toughest market anyone has known for years. I've been in business say nearly 30 years. And the combination of COVID and the frankly bizarre decision that Britain made to leave the EU, and then lots of other things. I've got friends running agencies who had gone from 25 down to 2 clients. And I saw this pivot coming the need for a pivot coming. And about 6 months ago, me and my team started looking deep, going, what is it we actually do? What do we really do? My company's called YesEO, so it's Yes SEO. And it's that because that's what people searched for, quite frankly. But what my business actually does is make more money for our clients. That's never changed. The tools might change. Plumbers have gone from soldering with, I don't know. Yeah, well, my point is that technology and opportunities change in every industry. But yeah, if you're a small business, look at what your strengths are and don't try and 100x it. Don't try and go, we need to scale this massively. When things are this hard, just think, how can we grow enough? What would realistic growth be? Look at your clients. Who do we enjoy working with? Who have we sold to multiple times? Let's really look at who they are. What is that profile? What is that personality? And let's do more of that. Because frankly, right now, if you can stick it out, so many of your competitors are going to wither and fail that when things start to lift up again, there's a void left that you can rush into. So business owners, do what you do best. Speak to people. Understand your market. It'd be lovely to have a magic, what you need to do is, this is part 1 of the plan. This is it doesn't exist, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think that a lot of companies forget what they do and they become obsessed with the mechanism, and SEO is a mechanism and it's not the solution. I remember when I started off in SEO a long time ago. I remember anytime I would say to a client, I'll get you 10 new clients a month. And they go, great, but how many backlinks? And I'm like, I can't work with you. You care about the wrong goal. So I had a social media manager work for me once. And I was like, what's with these numbers? He goes, our reach is 4 million. And I go, what is reach? He goes, reach is the number of people that could potentially see our content. I was like, in high school, my reach was everyone.
Yeah.
My actual friends was 3. So this is a imaginary number. I was like, that's a fake number. I said, here's I care about one metric. It starts with a $sign. If you're in England, it starts with a pound sign. That's the metric that matters to me. If you generate more money than you cost, I don't care what you're doing. You're bulletproof. You're totally protected. But as soon as we look at the wrong metric, and I think that's the same thing. That's why this episode is about traffic rather than SEO in a post-AI world, because if SEO is over, then it's a short conversation, right? But it's like traffic is, I have a business that works. I have a funnel that works. I just need people to see it. I remember this happened to me a long time ago. One of my dad's friends owned an amazing music store. He had the most beautiful website I'd ever seen. Absolutely beautiful for a music store, beautiful instruments, completely designed in Flash, which meant Google couldn't see it. It couldn't no search results. So I was like, he was like, how come we don't make any sales from the website? I go, no one's ever seen your website. It will never appear. You built something beautiful. Unfortunately, that's in Flash, and Flash basically encodes the back end, the best way to say it. So you can't really see the language, which means that Google doesn't know what the website's about. And that's an unfortunate thing. That's why we don't see a lot of interactive websites. Remember, you used to be able to move around the mouse and music would happen or things would move around. A lot of cool animations. That's all gone because of Google. They killed beautiful websites. That's
Google, there's your quote for the episode. Google killed beautiful websites.
All websites now basically look the same. They all almost have the exact same WordPress, like newspaper layout, unfortunately. So that's the problem again. It's the mechanism, right? It's okay. This tool doesn't work anymore. What's another way for people to find us? How can we get discovered? So traffic is most businesses, that's the struggle. I often say, and sometimes there's other problems in a business. It's not always a traffic problem. Sometimes it's a pricing problem. So if you get one customer a year, but they pay $10 million, you're fine. So it can be a pricing thing, but it's about the right customers and there's other elements. But I think that we are at a time where it's very trying and we're overwhelmed with communication messages and a lot of people right now are using AI to flood their communication channels. Oh, with AI, I can send more messages than ever before. I can use AI voices. I can text. I can email in. It's the thing that happens in this. I could tell because it's all men doing this because women have experienced this where you receive too many messages a day, too many men flirt with you, you just shut down the walls. And it's exactly the same thing, which is that I get so many inquiries to be on this podcast that I don't read any of them. There's probably some diamonds in there. But once you get to the point where all you're doing is making nobody check their email anymore. And that's what's happening in the strategy is, and we're seeing a lot of people employed. It's like now with AI lead gen, you can send 50,000 emails a day. And it's
AI lead gen, you can have 50,000 emails ignored a day.
And that's exactly it. It's you have to think about what's your goal. Is your goal how many messages you send a day? In that case, it's the perfect tool. If your real metric is sales or potential customers, that's very different. And I think that's an important lesson, which is to think, who is my ideal customer? What's the best way to get their attention? And I'm seeing there's a massive shift right now towards referral. So if I'm looking to hire a new coder, I would rather get a referral from someone else than go through the nightmare right now, like the recruiting industry, jobs industry. There are so many AI generated resumes. I've had people on interviews using ChatGPT and like, I can tell you're doing it. What's happening? What's the point? You're just trying to trick someone long enough to get to the first paycheck and then get fired. It's a horrible life strategy, but it seems like it's become very common and the market's inundated. It's the same thing. Like I said, when you get inundated with too many messages, now you post a job on LinkedIn or anywhere, you get 600 messages the first day. By the end of the week, you have 5,000 people apply for your job and probably 3 of them are real resumes. So you have this, when you get too many messages, you just don't listen to any of them. So it's really this challenging place of how do I get noticed in a way that you said is authentic and is not, if everyone else is doing that, do something different.
Absolutely. So I rejected a lot of kind of common business logic and business teachings when I first started in business. That turned out to be a mistake. But one thing I would stick with is let your weirdness through. Just, don't, if you try and turn up looking like you think your audience thinks you want you to look, you're going to appeal to nobody at all. My videos, especially my ones on LinkedIn, relate to business, are quite frankly quite dumb and quite stupid, a lot of them. I've skateboarded in some of them. I ran a webinar wearing a mortarboard because it was an end of term assembly, and I do some odd things. And when I first got brave enough to start being my true self, I was really nervous about it. I thought, I'm going to lose work. People are going to look at me and think he's unprofessional. But what actually happened was people started saying, I also think that's funny. I get your sense of humor. And you know what? Those people are really nice to work for. People who I've pre-filtered the whole of LinkedIn by posting content that most people don't align to.
So one of the things that reminds me of is that I ran into someone one time at the conference and go, oh my gosh, it's so nice to meet you. We've never met before. He said, we've met before. And I was like, maybe you should be more memorable. So what I mean? Like, and that's the thing is, maybe it's not my fault that I don't remember you. And that's the thing that like, exactly. I think this is a great lesson for anyone. It's be interesting. We all remember a public access or a local commercial by a small business where the guy's dressed like a king or wearing a silly costume. Those are the ones we remember. We don't remember the really good professional ones. We don't remember like I said, the LinkedIn posts that look like everyone else. And I think that there is something in having an element of individuality that we think what we do is we go, I'm going to do what I think everyone else wants instead of what I want. And
dangerous.
It's like you become, the thing that's most interesting is your uniqueness. Nothing I sell is unique. It's a commodity. Search engine optimization, traffic, it's as in other people sell the same thing, right? So why would you buy from me? It's because I'm interesting, or you like me, or you like my content. And if it's the same as everyone else's, then I'm not going to be remembered.
No. And I'm not saying, I know you're not saying this either. You haven't got to be wacky. I'm not saying go nuts. I'm saying just let yourself come through. Just that's it. And if you People never talk about their hobbies on LinkedIn. Some people get really sniffy about it. Oh, it's not Facebook. You don't talk about your hobbies. I sure as hell need to know about people's hobbies on LinkedIn, because what else am I going to talk to them about? Business stuff?
Yeah, there's this mindset we shift into, which is I have to be something I'm not so that people want to do business with me. And it's not about being wacky, it's just about being yourself or letting yourself shine through, because one of the biggest mistakes I see people make, and we'll wind down on this one because I know I've taken you over time, but this has been amazing, is that they sign up for an email service. They go, oh, look at all these newsletter templates. And I would say, let me ask you a question. What are you more likely to open, an email from Amazon or an email from Jonathan? At Christmas, some families in America will send out a newsletter, which is they write the same letter to everyone. They photocopy it, and you get like all the things that their family's been up to this year. Nobody reads those.
Nobody cares.
Because it's impersonal.
Yeah.
Whereas if you get a message, if you get a postcard, like how rare, they're short, it's got a picture, and it was sent, like it's sent with love. And also, like, it feels really good because you get them so rarely. I haven't had a postcard in like 20 years. I was talking to a friend about this the other day, but it has this personalization element. If it feels like it's from a person, that's really magical. And I think that's where you can shine through, is that.
I was only just looking over because there's a postcard up there. Look at this. I have this postcard up in my office. It's just some random beach in Germany. But I kept it. Look at that lovely handwriting.
Yeah.
I kept it because a friend sent me this when I was at high school. And I was selling some books, and it fell out, and I cut it and I put it on the wall, because that is a personal message that's talking about the topics that we were talking about at the time. And that's one of my little reminders. Be authentic, build relationships. Don't be a jerk.
Yeah. Now, this doesn't mean use an AI to send 50,000 postcards to people that are AI.
No, and
don't do that.
And don't make it look like handwriting if it's not. A local business got called out in my town a few weeks ago for doing that. People just started comparing them, because that's worse. You've damaged the trust then. You put a big dent in it.
Yeah. And it's okay to send out a mass send postcard, but don't lie about it. Like, if that's the problem, is that we always think I have to pretend to be authentic when I'm not. And I deal with something all the time. It's like, I outreach most of my guests on my show, and they always are like, oh, did you message me on purpose? I was like, yes.
On purpose.
What? Yeah. Like, sometimes I get people, and this isn't very often. They're like, oh, you probably want someone else. I was like, then I would have messaged them. I read your profile. I looked up some of your stuff. Like, people are always surprised when I've read one of their articles or have a specific reason I want to talk to them. They're always like shocked. I was like, what do you think I'm doing here? Like, this is not like, I would not have someone on the show that I don't like, that I'm not interested in, that has no benefit to my audience. Like, this is the place of greatest authenticity for that. But we're so used to bait and switch messages. We're so used to, like, you're waiting for someone to tell you, okay, what do you really want? And then when there's not a trick, they're like shocked. And that's the key. If you can surprise people by telling the truth the whole time, then there's a huge opportunity there. And I think that's really good. Like, I know that a lot of people think the sky is falling because SEO is coming to an end, but it didn't exist 20 years ago. Businesses existed 20 years ago.
It would be a nicer place if SEO had never have died, had never have existed. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, because all SEO has ever done is try and help people. Good SEO can just amplify the excellence of already brilliant business. The whole point is, if you are on it, if your content is passionate and it's connecting to your audience, and if you take your website seriously and it's fast, you don't need SEO. That's it. You can look, the BBC here in the UK ranks like hell for everything, because they're a beloved organisation that are neutral and put out brilliant information. I very much doubt they've got anyone doing their SEO.
I think government departments must have SEO. Like, I feel like it would just happen. Like, it just feels like a government job.
Not sure I believe that.
Because it seems like every fictional character has their own Twitter and every television show, and it's like, someone must be doing all that stuff. Maybe it's all bots, but yeah, I think this is a good positive note to end on, is that even if the mechanism changes, the concept remains the same, which is create good content in a place where your audience can find it and do things that make people want to refer you. And I think you're going to see really big spikes in Like you get the right person and then suddenly you explode. Like I think that's what we're going to see more and more of, which is that it's more network based or more relationship based because exactly we're seeing a shift and I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think it's a tumultuous thing.
Well, that's a lovely way of describing it. I really like that, Jonathan. I think my positive note would be if you're a business owner listening to this, you've already got everything you need to succeed in the age of AI, probably more so than you did in the age of information. That's it. It's a bit like the end of a movie, like the answer is it within you, but it is.
Yeah.
It is.
I think that we always see these and there's always periods where lots of businesses fail and a new business to start up. I think as much as we're going to see tons of businesses shut down, I think we're going to see a lot of startups right now. Suddenly people are like, oh, I can do that myself. And I think it's an exciting time. I think this has been really informative, Andrew. For people who are interested in your business, SEO, or kind of this concept of the good stuff rising to the top, where can they find out what you're doing or maybe see you on LinkedIn, see some of the content you're putting out there and maybe even feel like they're a good fit to work with you?
Sure. Just look me up on LinkedIn. My name's Andrew Laws. There's not many of us on there. I've got white hair. So if you see all the little thumbnails pop up, I'm the Andrew Laws with white hair. And you can find me on my podcast, which is called the Business Amplifier Podcast. And we are on YouTube and all the channels. Just come and say hello. I've got a really nice question I ask people when they connect to me on LinkedIn. I say, what would your entrance music be if you had music playing every time you walked into a room? And actually, I get quite a lot of replies. People go, look, we don't need your services, but thank you for that message because it's fun.
Well, that's wonderful. So we'll make sure to put that in the show notes below the video on YouTube and everywhere else. Make sure people can find you. Thank you again so much for being here today, Andrew, for an amazing episode of the Artificial Intelligence Podcast.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Artificial Intelligence Podcast. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss another episode. We'll be back next Monday with more tips and strategies on how to leverage AI to grow your business and achieve better results. In the meantime, if you're curious about how AI can boost your business's revenue, head over to artificialintelligencepod.com/calculator. Use our AI revenue calculator to discover the potential impact AI can have on your bottom line. It's quick, easy, and might just change the way you think about your business. While you're there, catch up on past episodes, leave a review, and check out our socials.